Welcome to this explainer. You know, for millions of years, our oceans were ruled by an absolute titan, the Megalodon. We're talking about a creature of just unbelievable, unimaginable scale. Literally the undisputed king of the deep. And then, poof, it just vanished. But, as we know, nature absolutely abhors a vacuum. The oceans, they never stay without a ruler for long. So, that brings us to this massive ecological mystery. With the Megalodon gone forever, who actually took the throne? I mean, the ocean's top predator was completely wiped out, leaving this massive, gaping void. And the creature that rose to take its place? Well, let's just say it wasn't exactly what you might expect. Part 1. The Empty Ocean Throne. Picture this. Around 3.6 million years ago, the oceans changed forever. When the Megalodon went extinct, the ocean's throne was completely empty for the very first time in millions of years. It was just this wide-open opportunity for whoever could figure out how to survive in a rapidly shifting marine world. But, of course, that vacuum didn't last long. Because while the giant Megalodon was slowly dying out, something else was already evolving, kind of waiting in the shadows. A completely new creature was out there fine-tuning its biology right under the radar, basically preparing for this exact moment. Let's dive into Part 2, the new apex hunter. So, scientists actually believe the unexpected successor to the crown was the ancestor of today's great white shark. But how on earth did they pull that off? Well, to start with, they weren't the biggest. In a world missing a predator the size of a literal school bus, the great white definitely lacked that massive, overwhelming footprint. And honestly, they weren't the strongest either. Brute strength and bone-crushing bite force, those just weren't their defining traits, especially when you compare them to the legendary raw power of the fallen king. But here was their ultimate evolutionary superpower. They adapted faster than almost every other hunter out there. While other species were basically panicking in a changing prehistoric ocean, the great white's ancestors rapidly fine-tuned their biology. Their true strength wasn't their size, it was pure, unmatched adaptability. A real game changer. Which really forces us to rethink how nature works, right? Like, could being smaller actually be their greatest advantage? We almost always assume bigger is better. But during a mass extinction, being smaller, leaner, and a whole lot more flexible is often the exact winning ticket. Part 3, the secret of survival. It really all comes down to some pretty harsh biological math. See, the Megalodon was kind of trapped by its own massive scale. It required a staggering, and I mean staggering amount of food every single day just to stay alive. So when the global food supply dropped, the giant starved. Great whites, on the flip side, needed far less. Their leaner efficiency allowed them to just cruise right through the lean times that literally starved the Megalodon out of existence. So if we look at their survival playbook, it essentially came down to 3 key things. 1, like we just said, they needed way less food. 2, they were highly opportunistic, meaning they hunted many different animals rather than just relying on one dwindling food source. And 3, they could physically handle changing ocean temperatures. Put those together, and those 3 traits were the absolute perfect formula to outlive a giant. Which brings us to Part 4, Forgotten Deep Sea Monsters. Now, while the great white successfully claimed the top spot near the surface, they definitely weren't alone. The ancient oceans were still home to some truly giant predators lurking much further down in the prehistoric depths. Down there, in the absolute pitch-black darkness of the ocean, hunters were growing to unbelievable, almost mythical sizes. And you want to know the most incredible part? We are literally still discovering these deep-sea leviathans through fossil records today. The prehistoric ocean is absolutely still keeping secrets, and guys, we haven't found all the monsters yet, not even close. In fact, recently, fossils of a prehistoric sea monster were uncovered that were just so strange, they completely shocked the scientific community. Which leaves us with one seriously terrifying question to ponder. Was it actually deadlier than the Megalodon itself? Well, keep questioning, keep exploring, and hey, thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. See you next time.